At Polaris, we believe that sales professionals are just that, professionals. And while we recognize that there are many who would stereotype sales folks as, well, some form of second-class citizens, our view is quite the opposite. And yet, we suspect that if you were to interview incoming college or university freshmen and ask them what job they hope to be in upon graduation, an infinitesimally small number would answer with, "I hope to be in sales." And yet, as many of us know, particularly after acquiring more and more gray hairs, sales is a function that is vital to any organization. Indeed, it's been said that no one in any business gets paid until something is sold. And so we hold sales professionals in the highest esteem and believe that it is indeed an honorable profession. It's one worth your continuing investment in training and development in order to sustain and enhance your organization's marketplace position. It's for this reason that we at Polaris have developed a training and development program which we call Purposeful Selling. Purposeful Selling is an ongoing development process, and that's a key word. It's not a one-time seminar or workshop, and it's designed to raise the level of professionalism of your sales organization to that of a trusted advisor to your customers or clients. And it's based on three very common sense principles. The first is that customers buy from us not because of how much they know about our product or service, but because of how much we know about their business and our ability to solve their business problems. Now, I have to admit, when we say this in many workshops, this principle is often met with a ho-hum, as in, tell me something I don't already know. And yet, when we observe the day-to-day activities of most sales professionals, they're talking with their customers about their newest product or a recent price reduction, or they're handing out a sales slick about some new widget. So, while we believe it's fair to say that most sales professionals know this first principle intuitively, they don't walk the talk on a day-to-day basis. The second principle of purposeful selling is that we sell top-down. Now again, it's not unusual for us to get a ho-hum about this principle as well. We all know that we need to have access to the decision-making executive to be successful in a given sales situation. The difference in our program is that before we meet with the decision-making executive, we've completed exhaustive research about the organization, and our research is conducted bottoms up. And we begin our research with the end in mind. And I want to come back to that point later. The third principle of purposeful selling is that a formal presentation to the decision-making executive isn't an alternate strategy or a backup strategy, but that it's fundamental to our strategy. Because it's in this presentation that we're going to demonstrate that we understand the organization's goals and objectives, its strategies and tactics for achieving them, and the challenges, obstacles, inhibitors, or impediments that may stand in the way of executing the customer's strategies and tactics, and thereby the customer not achieving its goals and objectives. As you might suspect, the presentation is totally customer-focused, and we only talk about our company or our solutions as they relate to assisting the customer in overcoming those challenges, obstacles, inhibitors, or impediments, which we identified in our research. Now, remember when I said that the sales professionals that we work with begin with the end in mind? This is the end, the executive presentation. So in conducting their bottoms-up research, we can't simply ask, what are your organization's goals and objectives? Frontline people simply don't think that way. So there is a significant amount of nuance to how we ask these questions as part of our research. For example, let's say the decision-making executive is Mr. Smith. A question more likely to get an answer that we can use in building our executive presentation, and that's the end that we have in mind, might be, at the end of the year, if Mr. Smith were to get a report card, what are the areas that he would be graded on? Notice the nuance? There's a similar nuance in delivering the executive presentation itself. Too many times we've seen sales professionals come off as, "Let me tell you what I know about your business." But when we rehearse the delivery of the executive presentation with the sales professionals who are engaged in our Purposeful Selling program, we would say this in a more nuanced way. Perhaps something along the lines of, "Now, Mr. Smith, based on our research about your company, it's our understanding that these," and we would be referring to a slide or a chart, "are your organization's goals and objectives. Is this accurate? Would you add anything to this or remove anything from this list?" So during the executive presentation, we're A, not presenting ourselves as cocksure, and B, getting buy-in from the executive throughout the delivery of the presentation. And we work hands-on with the sales professional, often going on calls with them, guiding them in the research process, and assisting in the development and thoroughly rehearsing the executive presentation. Purposeful selling works. In one presentation, the president of a division of a multi-billion-dollar petroleum company invited his senior staff to the meeting. At the end of the presentation, he turned to them and said, "I wish all of you understood our business as well as this young man does." And in another presentation to the CEO of a leading data services firm, the sales professional invited his own company's president to attend. At the conclusion of the presentation, in front of the selling company's president, the customer executive said to the sales professional, "What would it take to get you to join our company?" Now, we have many more real-world stories like these. Purposeful selling works. And it elevates the sales professional to the role of trusted advisor to his or her customer, and not merely another vendor.